The topic for this video is chemical names and formulas. The essential question is, what is a covalent or molecular compound? How do you name covalent compounds? And how do you write formulas for covalent compounds? So a binary covalent is basically two nonmetals forming a bond. In order to name these, we use prefixes, and they indicate the number of atoms. So some of these you may be familiar with. The prefix to indicate one atom is mono, 2 is di, 3 is tri, 4 is tetra, 5 is penta, 6 is hexa, 7 is hepta, 8 is octa, 9 is nona, and 10 is deca. And you might recognize these maybe from your shapes in math or something like that. A couple of exceptions. You're never going to use mono on the first element. If the first element is by itself, you just say the name of the element. And the other thing that's not allowed is if the prefix and the name of the element make two O's, you just get rid of one. Or an A and an O, then you get rid of the A. So some examples. We have C, which is carbon, and Cl4, which is chlorine, 4-chlorine. So again, we're not going to do monocarbon. We're just going to do carbon. And then there's 4-chlorine, so that's tetrachloride. And the second name we changed to IDE to show that it's bonded. So carbon tetrachloride. The next one is sulfur, and there's 3 oxygens, so it's trioxide, sulfur trioxide. The next one has 2 nitrogens to start, so that's dinitrogen. And then there's only 1 oxygen, so that's monoxide. And this is where that double vowel goes into place. Instead of monoxide, there's only 1 O in that word, dinitrogen monoxide. We just take that second O out. The next one has 2 phosphorus, so that's diphosphorus, and it has 5 oxygens, so that's pentoxide. And again, that's the other rule with the vowel. Diphosphorus pentoxide, instead of pentaoxide, we take the A out because it's just kind of awkward with the 2 vowels next to each other. Finally, we have 4 phosphorus, so that would be tetraphosphorus, and then we have 10 oxygen, so that would be decoxide. Tetraphosphorus decoxide. And if you'll notice, the first name, we just put the normal ending of the element, and it changes to IDE on the second one. There's a couple of these that are a little bit different that we have common names for. H2O, instead of saying dihydrogen monoxide, we call that water. NH3 is ammonia. And H2O2 is hydrogen peroxide. So you'll see those names and you'll be expected to know that those are the formulas for those substances. To write the formulas, these are pretty easy because they tell you how many is present of each element. So the first one says sulfur hexafluoride. So sulfur, there's no prefix on that, so I know there's only 1. And hexa is 6, and that's on fluoride, so that means there's 6 fluorides. So I have SF6. Carbon monoxide, carbon tells me there's only 1. Mon tells me that there's only 1 of the second, and that is oxide, so that's oxygen, so CO. Carbon disulfide is carbon is 1, and di is 2 for sulfide, which is sulfur, so CS2. And dinitrogen, so that tells me 2 nitrogens. Tetraoxide, so that would be 4 oxygens.